One of the things that uh, as we were looking at what Spectrum should really look like and what are the sessions that would really be relevant, one of the ideas that did come up is we cannot ignore the fact that we are building business resiliency. IT resiliency now has grown on to become a more umbrella concept. It includes the whole idea of business resiliency. And how does that come? It comes from a whole marriage of IT and operations and strategies. So we have two leaders here who really can share different insights on how we can really look at building crisis resilient architecture and how we can do this happy marriage between integrating operating strategies. So warm welcome to GP Gupta sir and to Jitendra Singh. Thank you so much. I know that you've really come amidst a very hectic day and you have your hard stops as well. So very quickly, the thought process is businesses need a strong resilience plan, and even a single thing that goes wrong, and this Gupta sir, we were also kind of discussing this when we met last, the reputation stake is much higher now when something goes wrong. And most organizations have what they call as, a business continuity plan. But I think right now this term has grown on to accommodate a lot more. So I'd like to very quickly jump in and kind of hear from the both of you. Very quickly, I think Gupta sir, I'll start with you. You had a long stint in, big conglomerates across industries. So welcome to the panel, first and foremost. And now as Chief Strategy Officer in SpiceJet, nothing less than that. What do you think are the key challenges in the way organizations really look at operational resilience, if I may say so? And in your industry in particular, in aviation, how does this really pan out? Does it pan out differently or are they universal sames? So I throw this question to you, all yours.
First of all, thank you for inviting me here, and it's a pleasure to address this gathering. Now, coming back on operational resilience and the challenges, and I'm sure a pandemic has educated most of us that when the pandemic came, nobody was prepared. So, biggest challenges which an organization face in my experience, first and foremost, all the communication barriers come into play. There's no communication across people, across department, even the systems do not communicate to each other. They are not very well integrated. And this results into working in silos. My right hand doesn't know what my left hand is doing. And then the organization starts jumping. Second point comes that roles and responsibility of the people are not very well defined in the organization. There are a lot of, overlappings. And it gives rise to third point, which is lack of accountabilities. Everybody say, I don't know, I did not do this. And lot of things fall, between the chairs, or we call it crack between the chairs. Nobody takes accountability. Next challenge which an organization face in such kind of scenarios, that there is no redundancy in the system. Now you hit a crisis, you need more resources, but there is no redundancy. We are all trying to optimize systems, processes, and the people. There is no redundancy in the system. And the whole organization is jumping from one place to another place. So these are the challenges, most of the organizations have faced in this recent pandemic, which has come to glare. Coming back to aviation, aviation that way is far more organized, because in aviation, this is a zero tolerance business. You cannot have an error. Even point like 0.00001 error can be resulting to massive disaster situations. So we can't afford. So organization that way is very well organized. So our operational environment is fully regularized and regulated. That's number one. Number 2 point, all the department manuals are very well documented. And for each department, there is a designated post holder whose responsibilities and accountabilities are well spelled. So there's nothing which is falling between the chairs and nobody knows what to do and when. Third point, all the standard operating processes for business as usual, even for the uncertainties which have happened across the globe till date, there are SOPs. If this happens, how do we are going to tackle this? So there is SOP in place. the huge interdependency across functions, like if a flight has to depart. So from the time the aircraft has arrived, it is kind of a clockwork work. So we need to deplane passenger, aircraft need to undergo cleaning, then the fresh boarding will start. In the meanwhile, engineers will certify the aircraft is fit to fly next flight, pilots will accept the aircraft, cabin crew will make sure that all the passengers are seated and door is closed and the aircraft goes. So due to this huge interdependency, the communication channel are very well spelled out. And there is very strong communication and transparent communication. Not only strong, it's a transparent communication. And there are inbuilt redundancy in the system, because weather can change, things can change, so you need to have redundancy. So that way, aviation is far more organized as compared to other industries.
Absolutely, and as you rightly said, there's very little scope for, a lapse in the industry that you operate in. I mean, it's unimaginable, so to speak. So great, great opening, Gupta sir. I mean, thank you for that. I'll quickly move over
Thank
to.
you.
I'll quickly move over to Jitendra here. So, digressing a bit, or maybe like kind of picking up a similar thread as well. JK Cement, of course, is typically a large, organization as well, and with a large supply chain and, distribution system and manufacturing ecosystem as well. So what specific business and IT collaborations have actually directly driven a transformation agenda at your place at JK Cement? And secondly, how does it tie back to the idea of operational resilience? So what were the key factors you looked at from your perspective?
Well, had it been 6 years back, it would have been that if all else fails, including SOPs, blame it on IT. So now we cannot afford that. So starting with that point, I'll come to your first question on resilience. Last question first, actually. Resilience is not by choice today. It's a necessity. And any industry cannot be, segregated out of it, that, okay, being in a commodity industry or a typical process industry, so you can afford to have some kind of a downtime. When you spoke very well on the logistics side, so when logistics are at stake, when you need to monitor each and every truck, where is it moving, you need to monitor that what kind of jamming is there inside the plant. You need to have the smart loading system in place. You need to connect that with the dealer. You need to connect that with the sales force. You need to also connect with the influencers. So the entire value chain is so finely connected and seamlessly connected, you cannot afford to have downtimes at all. And just to give you a very overview kind of a thing, this is 3 years back. Now, fortunately, we don't have it. We had a downtime of about 7 hours or so, and we were talking about losses in millions. So that is the kind of loss, and that's because of IT, in fact. And that's for true also, Mr. The cliched statement was only the first one. This was because of IT only. So resilience is absolutely, absolutely necessary, and for that we need to build on systems which are actually taking care of each other and also throwing alerts and cautions beforehand. So we need to have a proactive approach today. We cannot be reactive, that if something goes down, then only we react. So we cannot have those systems. Now coming back to the first question, the digital transformation, what triggered that? The basic premise before pandemic, it was that you need to survive. You need to be ahead of your competition. You need to be better than the competition. Today, my customer is smart enough. It's no more just buying a cement. They put extreme caution and value, because it's once in a lifetime investment when it comes to grey cement. For white cement, wall putty, paints, it's relatively maybe 2 years later. There also the cycle time is a little longer for us. So we have a catch-22 kind of a situation. While we know that our customer for grey cement is coming only for once, because if they happen to be building second house, then only they'll come back to me, otherwise they won't. So it's good 25 to 30 years, the customer, but still we need to retain that kind of a rapport with them. That connectivity with the customer, that connectivity through the sales channels, keeping them in touch so that their interiors needs are taken care of. This was a necessity. And then increasing the efficiency and efficacy of my sales force on ground is also very, very critical for us. Then there are losses connected to the diversion of your consignment or losses in transit that you need to take care of. You need to be very, very cautious about the quality aspects. Like I said, the customer is smart today, and now the smart customer supplemented with the commodity system. They go to a shop saying that I need JK cement. If somebody says JK cement is not present, ये वाला ले जाओ. So it's something like that. It used to be a cliched statement like surf दे दो तो वो कहते थे हाँ जी ये लो निर्मा. So detergent and cement and other companies, somewhere commodity becomes a very tricky part to play there. So you need to be very customer centric. You need to create a delight in your own terms. You need to be very well connected with the influencers so that they insist upon. And last but not the least, we are responsible for the lives of the families which stay in those houses. So the quality becomes paramount for us. Like Mr. Gupta said, though it's actually much more critical, maybe 7 sigma or more than that in fact. Somewhere similar to that, if not 7 but 6 sigma or something like that, we also need to follow. Errors are higher today, but this needs to go down. That's how.
Great. Yeah, so thank you for the diverse perspectives here. I think given the fact that both of you are both of you have large ecosystems and interdependent ecosystems which cannot fail beyond a point. Criticality comes a little more in Gupta sir's case maybe, but I would not put it down to what Jitendra said as well. Gupta sir, quickly moving back to you. What are the specific problem statements or crisis scenarios that a good crisis resiliency program should address, and how have you been looking at it?
Okay, so both are very interesting questions because we are just through with one crisis. So when you design any resilience program, so there are a lot of crises, and the crisis may differ from organization to organization or from industry to industry. However, what it will result at the end of the day is business disruptions, whether it is on account of supply of raw material or movement of inventory or availability of resources or the changes in market dynamics. However, there are certain basic ingredients what every resilience program should have. First and foremost, there should be a central database, and all the systems should be fully integrated. All the roles and responsibilities of the people should be clearly defined. Even there should be SOP for all known operational things, or even the logistics, or even the sales patterns. All the SOPs should be clearly defined. In addition to that, I would add that for all the known uncertainties which might have happened in the same organization or the peer organization or rest of the world, they should be very well covered in the SOPs. The organization should have clear program where they are able to anticipate the business risk or the business disruption risk. They should be able to anticipate. There should be clearly laid down a communication channel which should be very open and transparent, and there should be inbuilt redundancy in the organization, that when things go wrong, how we are going to react. Like in aviation, there is a position called crisis commander, and it is a regulated position that somebody has to be designated if there is a crisis, who will command that crisis. So the organization should have somebody when the disruption happens who takes over. So that should be them. That will be my take for the basic ingredients.
Absolutely well stated. I'm just taking a quick glance this side. Oops, and we didn't realize that we are actually kind of taken away, carried away by the conversation. Time really flies. So maybe I'll just quickly kind of take 1 or 2 lines from both of you on the fact that people and processes matter. Technology and strategies on one side. So what are the people and process investments in achieving operational resilience? If I could have a quick take from Jitendra and then come back to Gupta sir, and maybe we'll arrive at some sort of consensus to this. Yeah.
One of our, in fact, the vision statement for us today internally is the optimized production and marketing, employee engagement, and customer engagement. That's it.
Sure, so all the 3 layers of it, right? And
so employee engagement actually is the area wherein we create employee delight as well. And this was one area which largely gets neglected in manufacturing organizations. So this is what we are focusing on, because if we need to be in line with, now we are venturing into paints also. So it's typical FMCG kind of a model. If we need to be in line with the competition and rubbing shoulders with them, we need to be smart enough and agile enough, and need to have good talent on board, for which we need to create a delight also.
Very well put. Gupta sir.
This subject is close to my heart, so I can speak for hours, but time is very short.
That's the unfortunate part.
See, the employees are the core to any organization. This is the most productive asset any organization has got. The only asset which is most creative and innovative is the employees. Systems and processes are given. They are not innovative or creative. We are living in a dynamic world. What worked yesterday may or may not work today. What is working today may or may not work tomorrow. The customer preferences, market dynamics keep changing. So we must take care of our people. We must empower our people. We must bond with them. And people, to me, people are make or break for any organization. So I engage, with the people in a very intense manner. So, most of us in the leadership positions, we have people who are younger than us. They have a lot of energy. They have a lot of knowledge. But how do we channelize that energy and knowledge into our business? And there's a lot of bonding required. So we need our people 365 days in a year. They may need you maybe one day in a year. And that time we should not show our bossism. No, I don't have time. That's the time we need to stand behind them, saying, yes, I am there, don't worry about it. So these are the things. So we need to engage with the people, and that engagement, that bonding, in one of the earlier conversation, the hierarchy people are talking, doesn't work at all. Today it's a friendship environment. We are all resource. Maybe my job is different, somebody else's job is different, but each job is critical for the organization. So I think we must engage with the people and make most productive use. One tip I would like to share, though time is too short. The productivity of the people, if the normal productivity of a person is 100, if the same person is highly motivated and charged, that productivity can go up to 250 or 300. If the same person is demotivated, productivity can come down to 50 or 30. So what we are talking here, even if we take averages, 50 versus 200, 4 times the productivity. So if we engage with the people well, your productivity will be very high. And just to end, only happy employees can create happy and delightful customers. Thank you.
A quick one to Mr. Gupta's point of view, actually. Just an example on myself itself. Now I'm trying to boast, actually. My department, for the last 15 years, I have traveled 4 industries. And the entire team from all these 4 organizations, IT team is connected to me. I don't call them IT department, that's IT family. People in JK also, there are only 3 people in last 6 years who have left me, and they've left me for a very good reason, which I encourage them, because they went as CIOs ahead. The rest of them are still with me, motivated, and motivation pe you must have seen the joke also that people who are going to Gwal Pahadi are already motivated. You don't need a motivation for them. So I'm based out of Gwal Pahadi, by the way.
Great. I'm actually quite intrigued and delighted by the fact that through the sessions we had today, apart from the fact that people spoke about technology, I think people became the core. So while the core topic of this session was about operational resilience, crisis resilience, I think what emerged as a very strong part is people. So I'm really glad that, we are keeping things so, digital plus people friendly and people centric. Thanks a ton, Gupta sir. Thank you, Jitendra, for joining us. Thank you so much. I really value your presence. Thanks a lot.